precise turns, high-speed spins, and dramatic slides. No wonder Reining is one of the fastest-growing equine sports nationally and internationally. This year, reining horses will thrill over 4 million spectators with their grace, power, and skill. In 1985, reining competitions awarded over $1.3 million in prize money, with events in 40 states and Canada. Reining's popularity is beginning to spread even in Europe. A reining horse is a horse of any breed that has the natural ability and the intensive training which allows him to respond to a series of intricate, exceptionally fast maneuvers attained with the lightest touch from the rider. In competition, horse and rider perform a predetermined pattern of maneuvers and are evaluated on the precision of that pattern by a panel of judges. A champion reining horse has all the qualities prized in any great athlete: strength, discipline, and a sense of teamwork with his rider. The reining horse got his first big boost in 1966 with the founding of the National Reining Horse Association, and in the years since, the schedule of association events has grown to over 100 sanctioned shows yearly. One of the major events of the National Reining Horse Association is the Futurity, an event for 3-year-olds of any breed held annually in Oklahoma City the first week of December. In the next 5 years, the NRHA estimates a futurity purse in excess of $1 million, with approximately $225,000 going to the winner.
Hello, I'm Dick Pieper, President of the National Reining Horse Association, and I'm speaking to you from the All-American Quarter Horse Congress at Columbus, Ohio. For the past 19 years, the NRHA has held its annual futurity here at the Quarter Horse Congress. Since its inception in 1966, our futurity has grown from 24 entries and a $2,400 total purse to 335 entries at our show this year and a total purse of $515,000. In 1983, we began guaranteeing $100,000 to the first place horse in the futurity. That was the year that Craig Johnson won the futurity for the first time on Lucky Bay Glow. Last night made his second win in 3 years, which is a phenomenal record for a young trainer. I've known Craig Johnson since he was showing in youth reining, and he's a perfect example of the kind of person that we're looking for in our association as a trainer and as a professional. 20 years ago, the National Reining Horse Association was formed right here in the state of Ohio to promote and encourage the showing and training and breeding of reining horses. In the past year, we've experienced a 40% growth in membership, and we have 31 affiliates throughout the United States and Canada. We feel that we have a class for every level of expertise, from the professional to the rank beginner. In 1986, we are starting a youth division that we're very excited about for people under the age of 18 that wish to compete in reining. We would certainly like to encourage anyone who is interested in this exciting spectator sport to become a member of our association and receive our national magazine. The Reiner magazine is our bi-monthly publication, which is sent to every member of our association.
Craig Johnson grew up training his own pleasure horses and competing successfully at major AQHA shows. A trip to the Quarter Horse Congress as a youngster and additional exposure to the reining horse had a tremendous impact on Craig. He knew he had found his sport. He subsequently trained and qualified King Quattro for the Junior Quarter Horse Show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Quarter Horse Congress in Columbus, Ohio when he was only 18. The National Reining Horse Association Futurity became Craig's next goal. After a few near misses, Craig connected when the outstanding reining horse Blue Continental brought Craig to his first NRHA Futurity Finals in 1981. Then in 1982, Craig not only made the Futurity finals again on Lady Joe Bingo, but he trained the National Junior Reining Paint Horse, won the Junior Reining, and placed 9th in the Senior Reining on Misty Rose Glow at the AQHA World Show. By the 1983 NRHA Futurity, Craig's talent had become even more apparent when he and Lucky Bay Glow rode off with the association's first $100,000 prize, as well as placing 5th and 7th on his other Futurity colts. In 1984, Craig's winning ways continued as he won the North Central Reining Horse Association Derby, the NRHA Super Stakes, and Reserve Champion Junior Reining on Mainly Martha. These wins, coupled with his 8th place in the Futurity on King's April Glow, showed the folks he was here to stay. His 1985 wins already include the win at the Texas Heritage Expo on Checkmate King Glow, who also competed in the AQHA World Show in Oklahoma City, and then a first-place finish at the Texas Classic in September on Carol Rose's Sparkles Rosanna set the stage for Craig's second exciting win at the 1985 $100,000 NRHA Futurity. Craig's championship style showed once again that he is going to take his place among the great reining horse trainers.
We would like to introduce you to the fun and the exciting sport of reining. Reining is a team effort of the horse and rider to combine speed with the power and the grace and the elegance of total body control. Today I would like to cover with you selecting the reining horse prospect, the proper equipment and how to use it, starting the colt and the first 90 days, body control and how to achieve it. We're going to be talking about the 7 reining horse maneuvers, putting on the finish, show ring strategy, the do's and don'ts of reining, and what the judges look for. Now we'll get into selection of the reining horse prospect. First of all, I'd like to cover conformation with you. We'll use this mare to go over our conformation. I feel she has some very strong points that I want you to be able to see and use as guidelines in selecting your reining horse. We'll start at the head and work our way back. The head on this mare, it looks just like a mare. It's a nice, short, real pretty head. It's keen. It doesn't have any large bumps, any problems with the nose, with like a nice clean muzzle with a good nostril to take the air in and out. We want a real kind, soft eye. Big, pretty brown eye on this mare. This is the kind of eye I look for. I don't like a lot of white around the eye. It makes them look like they're just too wild, too buggy, too scared of things. I also don't like a little small piggy eye that sits over here on the side of their head. They don't have proper vision, and also it's just not pleasing. From here, I like a real pretty ear, an ear that sits forward, straight forward on the mare's the top of her head. It's a short ear. She can use them with a lot of expression. See how she uses her ears and how pretty it makes her look. Now we'll cover the neck. The neck on this mare is of medium length, and this is the type of neck I like. A long neck, the horse can get too wiry. A short-necked horse also has the opposite problem. They get too stiff, too bound up, too blocky. They can't get around, move with themselves, and move freely. So the mid-sized neck is just the type of neck that I like to look for in my reining horse prospect. The shoulder, I like a real nice sloping shoulder. It calls for a real pretty movement, nice long reach with her front end, very good mobility. It's a smooth ride. She's gives the appearance of riding uphill because of the nice high wither that she has. From here we'll go to the back. It's a nice short back on this mare. I like a short back on my reining horses. I feel that this gives them a little more power in their stop, makes for a prettier turnaround, and also they move a lot prettier. They can gather themselves up better than a horse that has a back that's just too long. I like a real strong, powerful loin over the back. This gives us some power to get that back curled up underneath themselves, drop out from under the saddle, and stay in the ground when we go to stopping. The hip, I like a real nice long sloping hip. The hip I measure from here to here. You see this mare has an excellent hip. She measures to where she's going to have a lot of angulation. When she does get in the ground, she can really fold up underneath herself. The stifle muscle gives her also the staying power to get down in and hold herself. From here we'll go down. We're working on the hind leg, gaskin muscles, both inside and outside, also stay in power. We want this hind end to be very powerful. The area that I look for, if I were to stress any area in particular, would be the hind quarter area, from the loin back. The power that we get from our hind end, through our stopping, through our turning, through the speed, being able to lope up underneath themselves and push themselves and get the power that we need, I'd say from here back needs to be the area that's most looked at. Now we'll take another look at the hind end. From this angle, you'll be able to see the power that we have in the width of the muscles. You'll notice that her hip, she's got a lot of power right here on the outside of her hip. She's got a nice muscle that ties in right in down through the leg, down into the hock. The gaskin muscle, the outside muscle right here, nice, powerful, strong muscle right there. But this is, of course, beneficial to a stopping horse, but here's where we get most of our power, on the inside hind leg. We need a nice, strong, powerful muscle right in there. This is what keeps the feet together when they're down in the ground. This is what really holds that horse down in. We want the legs to be square. We want the hind legs to be running directly forward. No major deviations from, say, toeing in, toeing out. Most often you'll see a horse that will toe out behind. These horses have trouble as they begin to stop. They have a tendency to spread because they're just following their feet. They're taking their feet and they're going out with them. So I'd rather have a horse that was completely square like this mare. When she begins to slide, she's in the ground and her feet are going directly forward, causing a nice, pretty set of tracks that are going just as far as they could possibly go. Now we'll take a look at the front end of this mare. The front end also is very important. We need a front end that is just a little bit slight. I like to see a good muscle in the front so that they have power and the agility to go where we need them to go with speed and with stamina. But I don't want a blocky front end. I feel that a blocky front-ended horse doesn't have the ability to turn around. They get real bound up, they get tied up in their turnarounds and some of the other things that we need them to do. Therefore, I like one that is just somewhat of a narrow-built horse in front, as opposed to the strong hind end, real big, powerful hind end that we need. We want to come up front and we want to be fairly agile. We'll start with the V in the horse's chest. We need a real nice, pretty V right down through here. This is where we get the real agility, the ability to split the feet away from each other, cross them back over and go again. We need a powerful chest muscle with that nice deep V that carries way back down into her chest. Okay, we want a nice, pretty forearm muscle. This muscle it helps us in the staying power, stability, the stamina, able to stay right on her legs and know where we're going to head at all times. This muscle, I like it to tie down real long, real deep, nearly down to the knee. The front legs, we don't want any real problems here as far as unsoundness. Therefore, I look for a horse that sits on their front legs very nice and correct. The knees, ankles, the feet, everything pretty much as straightforward as you can get. Now I'd like to cover the breeding. The breeding that I like to see in my reining horses, of course, are the working bloodlines. I have some that are of preference to me. I like the foundation bloodlines, the Kings, the Leos, the bloodlines such as this. We found that this keeps our horses of a nice, quiet attitude, good mind, very willing to go ahead and work for us. They stay longer. They can relate to the daily training and absorb what we're after more readily than, say, a hotter bred horse may. The bloodlines, just to name a few that I like, Mr. Joe Glow, Zan Parbar would be another excellent example. In fact, Zan Parbar is the sire of this mare. She's by Zan Parbar and out of Diamond Sparkle. Diamond Sparkle was a super horse at the American Quarter Horse Association World Show several years ago. She also goes back to King. Be sure that you have the quiet foundation bloodlines back through there somewhere, and you'll be in pretty good shape. Now I'd like to cover the proper equipment and how to use it. The first thing I'd like to cover on the proper equipment will be my saddle. My saddle is a saddle that I've designed. It's a design that I feel fits a reiner and fits the way I like a reiner to ride, just the way I'd want one to. We've got a high front end, which gives me the uphill ride that I really like on my reining horses. We've got it built up so that you do feel like you're riding in the uphill manner. The seat, going back from the front end, we got the seat that puts you right down on the horse's back. I like to feel like I'm right down on the horse's back when I'm riding. I want the front end to slope up slightly, but not so much that I feel locked in here. I want to be able to move up if I need to, but I also don't want the flat seat to where I just move all over the place. I want to be able to have a nice secure seat, but get out of it should I need to. The cantle back here, I like a nice high cantle. The reason being, when a horse gets down in the ground, they start to slide, you can see the angle that the saddle will take. You're going to have something to get down on it and push yourself against, right on your pockets, right back here. Therefore, I want a cantle that'll hold me in there. One that's too low, you could nearly push yourself right back out over the back end of it. So I want a nice secure seat. This seat here, I feel, is one that will keep you in proper position to ride a reining horse. The legs, where your stirrups and the fenders hang, I want to be in as natural a position as I could possibly have, as if you were to take these fenders and the stirrups off, just hang your legs down here. This is where they're going to be. The cinch, I like the cinch to tie in back behind here just a little bit. I don't want one to tie in too far up front. I feel that moves my saddle back too far. I want to be right up on the horse's withers. I want to be able to get up there where I'm in balance with them and I'm right over top of the horse's balance point. Splint boots will go on the horse's front legs. You'll see the protective device that will fit on the inside to prevent any injury from one leg crossing over and bumping into the other leg. Position your splint boot so that you're in a nice area that gives you the most protection between the knee and the ankle. Now that we've got our front legs covered, we'll move back to the back legs. Protective device that we'll use back here will be our skid boots to aid in prevention of a horse burning himself, causing any injury to his back ankles as he begins to get down in the dirt and slide. Now we'll start with the top wrap. Put it on snug. We don't want it tight, but we want it snug so that it doesn't really have a lot of movement to it. Then we'll bring the cup down so that it fits in behind the ankle for the protection. Oh. Bring the front strap around. Lay that one back over. We have our skid boots in place. We'll go over the bits real quickly. This bit is a training bit. It's a ring snaffle bit. It's the type of bit I like to use on all my 2-year-olds. In fact, I use them a lot on 3-year-olds and older finished horses too. The reason I like to is because it gives us a lateral control. We can get right to the corner of the horse's mouth. We can work and pull directly on an area that needs the type of work that we want to put right there. The next bit I like to go to after our ring snaffle bit in my program, this is a shank snaffle bit. It's a 7-inch shank with the same type of broken mouthpiece that our ring snaffle has. The next bit we'll move on to, this is called a Billy Allen bit. This bit is still along the same lines of our shank snaffle. We've got the loose cheeks, the swivel. You can pull one rein and the other one stays where we left it. The mouthpiece, it is somewhat of a broken mouthpiece, although we've got a copper roller in there now that is giving it more of a stiff feel to the horse. Now the next and final bit we'll use in our program is what I call my finishing bit. It's a low port grazing bit. The low port copper mouthpiece that we have in it allows the tongue to fit up in here so that the bars of this mouthpiece ride down on the bars of the horse's mouth. Now we'll get into starting our 2-year-old prospects and going on from say 30 to 90 days. Going with a green colt and showing him the basics of beginning to be a reining horse. Our green colt program is very relaxed, very quiet. We don't get into them. Basically all we teach them to do is how to move away from a rein and a leg, to walk, trot, and lope. First thing I'll have Jerry do is just warm her up a little bit. We want to relax her mentally. We walk and trot and lope a lot of circles. It's something that they become very accustomed to. If anything goes wrong, if we start to scare a horse, we'll go back and start doing circles. We like to do our 2-year-old riding out in the open. We'll probably spend just a few days in a round pen to get them started so that we have some form of control over the horse. But then we'll get outside just as soon as we can so that we can teach them how to handle the wide open spaces. You notice how we'll set the pole on these colts. By that I mean the nose comes back when we pull on the bridle. We want the chin always to come back to us. We never want to pull on the horse and have them root their nose away from us. You can see where the snaffle bit is very beneficial at this stage of training because we have our direct contact to the corner of the mouth. Good. See how very light Jerry's hands are? Don't ever get rough with your hands. Be very soft on your colts. Okay, Jerry, go ahead and trot her around now. She's starting to look pretty relaxed. And you can see the ability in this mare. She's not very far along. Like I said, she's probably got 30 days of training. But she's wanting to stop. She's wanting to turn over her hocks, respond to Jerry's hands and his legs. This is an excellent Reining Futurity prospect for next year. Doing exactly everything I'd want her to do. Very light and responsive. Okay, that looks good, Jerry. Now back her up just a little bit. Now drop the reins and let her stand and catch her air. We stand a lot with them too. Just stand and relax, let them catch their breath. They learn to look forward to coming to a stop, standing. We usually stand after we've trotted, loped a circle or something. We'll bring them back to a stop, and then we'll stand there and relax. Okay, Jerry, go ahead and trot her up into a lope. We just squeeze our colts up into a lope. We don't just kick and ask them to gallop. We want it to happen real softly. She'll just trot and trot faster until she breaks right up into it. There she goes. Just happen real smooth. Now Jerry will go a couple of circles. Break her back to a trot. We're putting the foundation of our speed control on right now. A colt of this age or any age can more readily understand a break in gaits than they can a break in speed. So we just lope slow circles to start with, and then put our speed control on by breaking them back to a trot. From the very beginning we do a lot of neck reining. We ask with our neck rein first, then demand with our direct rein. Now I ask her to stop and back a few steps, and we'll quit. Excellent. Drop the reins and let her just stand, catch her air, and that's a good day for our 2-year-olds. We're ready now to talk about total body control. Total body control to me is every part of the horse's body from the chin to the tail, which includes, of course, the chin, the poll, the horse's neck, the shoulders, the belly, and the hip, and then again all 4 legs. We'll teach every part of this horse's body to move with us and for us in such a manner that it's going to benefit all the reining maneuvers that we're going to cover again in a very short time. The horse I'm going to use for this demonstration is another one of my 3-year-old Reining Futurity prospects, also by Zanpar Bar. Total body control begins with teaching the horse to give softly to our hands and to give to pressure without any resistance. I'll ask her to break at the pole and give her chin back to me. I'll stop, ask her to back away from the bit and my hands, teaching her collection. We have to have a horse that is very soft, very supple, and off the bridle at all times. When I talk about the shoulder or any part of the horse's body being inside or outside, I'm referring to where that part is in relationship to the horse's head at that time. I'm walking a direct bend circle to the left. The horse's head is to the inside of the circle. The horse's shoulder is to the outside. We accomplish this by using pressure on the left rein to guide the nose in and the left leg at the cinch to guide the shoulder out. I'll cross over to the counterbend position to the right simply by raising my left hand up and laying the rein against the horse's neck, using just enough pressure to maintain the horse's body position and carry it over into the opposite direction. Here the horse's head is to the outside of the circle and the shoulder is to the inside. I'll lower my left hand away from the horse's neck and flow back into a direct circle to the left. Again, the head is to the inside, the shoulder is outside. I'll always go back and set the horse's pole at any time I feel they're getting away from my hands. We'll do the same thing to the other direction. I'll walk a direct circle to the right, using my right rein away from the horse's neck, tipping her head to the inside. I'll use my right leg at the cinch to move the shoulder to the outside. I'll walk a couple of circles to make sure that we've accomplished this position properly. Then I'll move my right hand up to her neck and ask her for the counterbend position to the left, keeping her head to the outside while making the shoulder move to the inside by maintaining my leg cue at the cinch. We'll ease back to the direct circle to the right by lowering my right hand and letting the horse fall into it. To gain control over your horse's hip or move it from left to right in relationship to where the shoulder is, you must collect your horse's pole and use your legs farther back in the horse's sides. The hip should be taught to move either direction, whether you're going forward or backwards or in a circle. Notice in a circle to the left, I can make her hip swing to the outside or to the right by holding her head and shoulder in with my left hand and pushing the hip around with my left leg back in the flank. Now I'll make the hip move to the left, using my right rein to hold the head and shoulder to the inside and my right leg back in the flank. Hip maneuvers will help you the most in securing your lead changes and straightening up a crooked back. I tie my horses in all these knots so that I can maintain perfect straightness with maximum flexibility. This is my winning run at the 1985 NRHA Futurity on Sparkles Rosanna. I'll break this pattern down into the 7 Reining maneuvers: circles, speed control, spins, lead changes, stopping, rollbacks, and backing up. First, the circles with speed control. I'll begin on the left lead and chase her up into a large, fast circle. Notice her pleasant expression and willing attitude as she runs freely in the large, fast circle. Now I'll sit back and relax and won't take hold of her face and she comes back into her small, slow circle, still using her ears, showing a lot of expression. At the center of the arena, I'll stop and complete 4 spins to the left. She's turning flat and free and stops where she's supposed to. Now I'll lope off in the right lead and again chase her up into a large, fast circle to the right Again, she's moving freely, using her ears. It looks like she's having a lot of fun. I'll relax and she comes back again to a small, slow circle. Notice the slack in the reins as she's guiding very lightly. At the center of the arena, I'll stop and complete 4 spins, this time to the right. Now I'll lope off again in the left lead and chase her up again to a large, fast circle. Make my way to the center, change leads at the center of the arena, and lope a large, fast circle to the right. Notice the loose reins and how freely she's moving. At the center of the arena, I'll change leads again to the left and make my way around the arena. Here I'll run down the side, past the center marker, and make a sliding stop. I'll make a right roll back and continue around the arena again. Notice she comes back. After making a hard run, she came back very soft and is very quiet around the end of the arena. Now I'll run down this wall, make another sliding stop. She's completely in the ground. Make a left roll back. Lope around the end of the arena again, showing speed control as she lopes softly around the pin. I'll run down this wall for my last stop. She stays in the ground with both hind legs and runs freely in front. And we back up and finish our pattern. Let's watch how we train for those individual maneuvers. Now Lynn's going to lope some slow circles first. I'll have her lope 4 or 5 nice slow circles. This will be a demonstration of novice horse riders on their own horses. See how she's just got light contact on her reins, riding very relaxed. Nice pretty round circles. She's keeping his neck straight and his shoulder to the inside of the circle. This will help to guarantee total guidance. You get the nose to the inside and the shoulder to the outside, and you may not wind up exactly where you want to be. With the shoulder to the inside, like Lynn's demonstrating here, with the neck straight out in front of him, he'll be able to control every step this horse is taking throughout the circle. She can go smaller, she can go larger, and the horse is right underneath her. Okay, Lynn, go ahead and lope about 3 large, fast circles. Now watch as Lynn raises her hand up his neck, leans her body forward. This is what we call chasing. We're chasing him. We're making him go that fast. Now she's not doing it with her feet. You'll hear her use her voice. Lean her body forward and see where her hand position is now on the reins. Okay, go one more and then go slow. Now watch when she goes slow, she won't pull on him. Just relax in the saddle. There. Chasing a horse encourages, actually it encourages your horse to go slow. If you were to take your feet and drive that horse forward and run him forward, now you're teaching him how to run. What we want to do is teach complete speed control. Therefore we'll run our hand up his neck, lean our body forward and chase him. Really make him run. Then when we want to go slow, we'll just sit back, drop our hand position back down again, and we'll wait for that horse to come back to us. Through repetition, they can come back rather quickly within just a couple of strides. On a beginning horse, it may take a complete circle or 2 before they really notice the difference, but we keep building upon that. The lead change is something a lot of people have a phobia about. They make it much harder than it should be. Actually, it's something that a horse has very natural ability to do, some more than others. If you have complete body control, you'll have your lead change already built in. Okay, Lynn, let's go ahead and do a couple of lead changes. When you come across the middle, change from the right lead to the left lead. You know, don't bump, do anything, just sit there and guide him over. Make a nice smooth change, no change of speed. You know, just make it real nice and smooth. You watch the hind foot, it'll reach forward and change first. Good. Okay, go across there again real soft and change the lead. Now at this angle you'll be able to see what the hind end will do. His hindquarters will shift over from the left to the right and he'll make the hind lead change, and then she'll bring the front end over to get the front end changed. We'll go hind lead first. Okay, now she's missed that lead change. She'll just hold and bump there till he gets it. Okay, now it would have been a mistake. Lynn rode real smart there. He didn't get the lead change when he was supposed to, but she didn't go to kicking and trying to get it. That'll really make a horse scared of that lead change. There. Remember, if a horse misses a lead change, don't go to kicking to try to get it. We don't want to ever scare the horse of a lead change. It's just a change of directions. That's all we want to make it. If he misses it, do just as Lynn did. Just follow through. Don't spook the horse because of a miss, but just hang in there and wait till he gets it. Lead change needs to be equally as relaxed as the circle was. Okay, pay particular attention to the front legs and how they're crossing over. See the outside legs step over in front of the inside. The rhythm he's developed. The step that he's got. Okay, this is Jim Kaiser. And this is his youth horse. We're just getting him prepared to go to the youth finals at Tulsa. We'll have Jim do some turnarounds for us. We'll help him if he needs the help. I want him to walk some small circles just like he's doing right here. Now you watch. He's getting his horse in position. The horse is starting to hunt that turnaround now. He'll lay a rein, go around 2 or 3 times, then walk him right back out. That's good, Jim. Try to get it just a little bit smoother. Just in and out. You can see this is also something that's relaxed. It looks like something that really ought to fire that horse up, and it would if this turnaround were mistreated. But we do it in a relaxed manner. The speed these horses develop is because of desire. There, he walked right out. Perfect, Jim. Really nice. Okay, now walk some circles in the other direction. You notice Jim's not jamming the rein against the horse's neck to ask him to turn. You won't gain speed by laying more rein on the horse's neck. In fact, you'll lose speed. You want him to just bounce away from that outside rein. Just like it's stinging him. Just like that rein's vibrating against their neck. Now he'll turn him around that direction. Walk right out. Wonderful. The first thing I'll do when preparing a horse to spin is put direction and rhythm into him by walking a circle in the same direction as a spin. Notice how he keeps a straight body position through his back and neck. We want a rapid, consistent spin that has a lot of cadence. I like to walk out of my spins a lot. That keeps the motion going and prevents any hesitation in the horse's steps. Now we'll do another one. Watch how the horse crosses his front legs in the spin. Reaching with the inside and stepping over with the outside. Also notice that the inside hind foot or pivot foot is planted in the ground and does not move until the release. You must remain relaxed and in balance so that you do not hinder the horse's freedom in any way. Now we'll cover the sliding stops and rollbacks. Now that Jim's got his skid boots on, we'll have him work his way over to our track to do some stopping. It's just an area that's probably 220 feet long and 30 feet wide. with just a small fence on the end. This gives us more of an arena-like condition. What we'll do by fencing is just teach the horse to run straight to that fence. Go square up to it in a complete direct drive line from the hip to the shoulders right to the chin. And we'll drive his hind end right up through himself as he begins to slide. What we're doing by loping slow to the fence, just teaching the horse to go right straight to it without any resistance. If we always ran fast to the fence, he'd begin to anticipate that stop. Good. Okay, let him relax there a second. Alright, now Jim, I'd like for you to go ahead and take him to the other fence and build speed right to it. Drive him right up to that fence. What this fence will allow you to do is be light with your hand, because that fence is what's going to stop him. Okay, you drove him right to that fence. That's good. Now see how relaxed he is there at the end of it? He respects that stop, and he knows when he does stop, he's going to get to stand there and relax. You'll notice that Jim's horse is driving right up into the fence. We're not making a fancy stop, but we're not asking for it. Right now what we want him to do is get a direct drive line from fence to fence. Now we're going to ask him to do some real stopping. Okay, Jim, go ahead and take Louie back the other way and get down there towards the end of the track and ask him to stop before the fence. Build speed right to it. There. Excellent. This is where we'll do our stopping. The horse knew he had to go directly right to that fence. Jim was light with his hands, made the stop cue, and Louie got down in the ground behind, really made a pretty stop. Now he's resting his horse. He knows he did well. This is a good time to let your horse catch his air, relax. He'll be more apt to do it again if you will. I'll do a little slow fencing on Sparkle. The main things you have to do when stopping your horses are maintain a completely straight line, not only on the track but in your horse's body, and be sure to keep the horse's front end or shoulders up on the approach and throughout the stop. I'm not after big fancy stops here. The things I want most are complete speed control, no charging, a straight line through the body, freedom, no hesitation near the fence, and maintaining the uphill position or keeping the shoulders elevated. I like to just stand and relax at the end of each stop to help build desire and create confidence. One more with just a little speed. Notice how she's approaching the fence in a straight line. We're building speed right up to the stop, and this helps keep the shoulders elevated. I'll say whoa and slowly take the slack out of the reins for a nice smooth stop. Rollbacks are simply half turns over the hocks and lope out in the opposite direction. A rollback is always performed immediately after a stop in a pattern. Since when I stop my horses in training, I like to stay very straight and very quiet, I'll seldom do rollbacks at home immediately after a stop. What I like to do is walk my horse forward into the bridle, stop, back a few steps, and make a half turn. I'll make this turn by lifting my hands up to elevate the front end. At the point that I want to turn, I'll apply my outside rein and ask the shoulder to go to the opposite direction. At about the 3/4 point in the turn, I'll lean forward, use my outside leg in the belly, give my horse some slack, and lope immediately right out into a circle. This will make the shoulder completely follow through. The horse will learn to lope instantly out of the rollback, and it will teach the horse to come out of it on the proper or inside lead. Now let's do some backing. The main things to remember when backing are not to pull and drive them back from the front. Lift the slack out just enough to make light contact and use your feet for impulsion up in the shoulders to drive the horse backwards away from your hands. Make sure that you're the one that stops the back and not your horse. Now we're going to cover putting on the finishing touches. We like to put a little added protection on our reining horses when we get into the more complicated and harder running maneuvers, just for the protection, support of the tendons. What I'll do is start this wrap on the inside of the leg, just like this. We'll take the inside of our quilt, we'll lay it right in a groove that's alongside of that tendon. We'll lay it right in there. Then we'll come around and we'll fit this quilt equally between the knee and the ankle. Then we'll just wrap it on around, being sure to keep all the wrinkles out of it. Keep this quilt very, very smooth. Okay. Now that we've got our quilt properly in place, secure on the leg, we'll take and wrap it down with our bandage. We'll start the bandage on the opposite side just as we did the quilt, right in that groove. We'll wrap from back to front and on around. We'll want to make this wrap secure. We'll make it snug but not tight. Okay, we'll start just above the ankle like you see here. We'll wrap down to the ankle. Now we're going to take a wrap underneath the ankle. Just like that. Come around. Now we'll take our wrap above the ankle. Just like that. Now you'll see we've got a joint in our wrap. Acts kind of like a hinge. Gives the ankle freedom of movement. Now we'll come on around with our wrap. Go half a wrap at a time, all the way up to the top. Making it snug again, but not tight. Be sure there's no wrinkles in your quilt, in your wrap. Wrap to within an inch or a half inch of the top and close it. Now that we've got our horse wrapped and the skid boots applied, we'll go ahead and put the bridle on. First of all, we'll slip the halter off of him. We'll put it down around his neck so that we still have a hold of him. Now we'll put on the cavesson. Cavesson is a device which helps to hold the horse's mouth shut. I like to put this cavesson on above the bit. I feel it's more effective. The fit of the cavesson, I like to be able to get a couple of fingers in behind it. I think it's that much more effective if the horse is able to open his mouth, then he bumps it and he'll get back off of it, as opposed to if we were to go ahead and just take this horse's mouth and just get it down tight. Now we'll go ahead and put the bridle on. This bridle is one we talked about earlier. It's my low port grazing bit. We'll check to see that the bridle comes to the proper place in his mouth. That would be just to the bottom of the corner of his mouth. I don't really want to put a wrinkle in his mouth. I just want it to be right there. Chin strap should be in a position to where you can get comfortably 3 to 4 fingers in behind it. Just like that. Now that we have our horse mentally and physically prepared for competition, there's one more area of great importance that I'd like to cover with you, and that's proper shoeing of the reining horse. Shoeing the reining horse is extremely important. Without proper shoeing, the horse will be unable to stop for us the way we'd like him to, with the ease and the correction and the straightness that we're required to have. Shoeing begins with a proper foot angle. It's a natural angle. We don't deviate any degree from just the natural angle of the horse's foot and leg. Balance is really the key to proper shoeing. We want the horse's foot to be completely balanced from side to side so that the foot hits the ground completely flat and will not cause any unsoundness problems later on in our program. The shoe we use is a 1-inch wide shoe, which gives the horse more ground surface as he's down in the dirt and sliding. 1 inch wide all the way around, toe to heel. Our toe is beveled slightly to the front so it acts like somewhat of a ski. It's beveled from all the way to the back side that you can see here, this inside lip, forward, beveled straight forward on the horse. The heels are brought back and brought back far enough so that it runs completely to the back bulb of the horse's foot. We want this area protected. If we cut our heels off here too soon on our sliding shoe, we could injure our horse and burn these back heels, and his bulbs would cause injury to the horse, and he would be not as able to stop as he will have with this protection and support that he'll have. We like to run the heels back so that there's a nice opening for all the sand and whatever is on the ground to go ahead and clear out and just go right through the foot and on past. We want this shoe to be headed straight forward. You see, as I point the shoe towards the ground, it's going, when he puts his foot down, it'll go completely straight forward. It's not turned one direction or another. It's going completely forward. When that foot is down in the ground, that's where his foot will go. Now I'd like to cover with you show ring strategy, which would include the do's and don'ts of reining and what the judges look for. One thing you sure want to be ready and know about is know that your equipment is in proper working order before you begin to go to the show. Check your bridles. Be sure if you have screws that connect your bit, be sure they're all in place and they're good and tight. Your chin strap is not worn and is properly set. The bit is in good working condition. It's clean. It doesn't have any rough edges in the horse's mouth. Your reins are tied on securely. They won't come unfastened. Now that you've got your bridle in order, check your saddle. Be sure you don't have any cuts in your leather that holds the cinch on. Be sure your cinch is in good working order. None of the straps are broken or it looks like it might fall apart. If anything looks like it will, replace it with something that won't. Be sure your saddle is clean. I like to have real clean, nice looking equipment when I go to the show. I want to be sure that I look professional and my equipment does too. Check your skid boots. Be sure they're in good shape. Have them put on. Know that they're on properly so that you don't have to think about that. Also your split boots, they're on securely, they're clean, they look good, and your horse is in good shape. Have your horse brushed, have him looking good, and be sure that he's going to be pleasing to the judge's eye, which would cover one area of what the judges would look for. We have to prepare our horse for our run. What we'll want to do is lope our horse in lots of circles, both left, both right. This will warm him up, get him prepared for our run when we do go in the pen. We want to check to be sure our turnarounds are working, both left and right. Be sure he's coming off the bit. When we stop him, we don't have to run and stop before we go in, but trot up there, stop him a few times, be sure he's off the bit by backing him. Know that he's going to be working for you properly. Have his mind set, have him physically ready. Now we're going to have some relaxed time. Let the horse catch his air for just a few minutes before you walk in the pen. During this time, this is when I like to go over the pattern in my mind. Know what I'm going to do. Know the pattern inside and out. Know what the first step is when you clear that gate, and know what the last step is when you leave. I want the horse to be ready and I want myself to be ready. Know in the arena, by looking at it as I'm standing there, where I'm going to be at any certain point, any certain time, and what speed I'm going to be going when I get there. Know your horse's strong points, play those up. If your horse is a strong stopper, go ahead and run him down there and stop him. If your horse is a weak spinner, don't get too carried away with your turnaround. Don't ask your horse like he is a fabulous spinner, the one that you know he's not. So play up your good points. Don't play to your bad points. Be sure that you know your horse as well as you know yourself, know your pattern, know everything you want to do when you go in that pen. What the judges will look for is correctness. They'll look for speed where speed is called for, They'll want slow where slow is called for. Center your pattern, both, not just vertically but horizontally. Draw an imaginary X right in the middle of the arena. This is where you want to circle to and from. Your lead changes are made there. Should we have to make any runs up and down the center of the arena, that's where we want to be. Know in the rule book where it says to stop, cross whatever line it said in the book, stop there. Don't do anything that might allow the judges to take a point away. We want them to give us all that they can. Training a reining horse is a long process, requires a lot of time and patience. None of these things can be accomplished overnight. It takes a year or more of knowledgeable training to develop the finished reining horse. When we get a customer's horse in at our facility here in Gainesville, that horse is enrolled in our school program, and we'll take that horse through grades 1 through 12. Horses, like people, can sometimes fail a grade. Possibly that horse just needs a little more time in one certain course, or perhaps that horse is just not capable of becoming a reining horse. Not all of them are. But those that do pass all the grades and graduate do become outstanding individuals in the exciting sport of reining. I have enjoyed sharing my training techniques with you and hope some of my ideas will be helpful. I look forward to visiting with you at one of the shows, one of our clinics, or here at the ranch, where Lynn and I have several reining horse prospects and finished horses for your inspection at all times.